What is happening?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Something is wrong with connection, I think. Okay, ठीक है.
Good evening, sir. Sir, आपने जो कहा मोनोलॉग मैं ना वो बाद में भेज सकती हूँ क्योंकि ना मेरा ना थोड़ा सा लैपटॉप पे थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम था. मैं वो लिख कर भेज सकती हूँ.
क्या प्रॉब्लम हो गया लैपटॉप में?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. वो डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं चल रहा था.
लैपटॉप 21 डे में लैपटॉप थक गया लगता है आपका. 21 डे आते आते लैपटॉप की बैटरी
मैंने फोन से भी किया है.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Good and evening.
सर आप शांतनु सर और मैं कुर्ता पैजामा पहने.
सर
अभिनव
मैं भी.
अभिनव ने कैमरा ओपन किया है, नीचे कैमरा ऑफ दिख रहा है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
वो मैं बताता हूँ, वो मुझे पता है सीक्रेट्स का. वो जहाँ से कैमरा ऑन है वहां से उसका माइक ऑन नहीं हो सकता, उसमें कुछ इश्यू है तो वो दूसरी आईडी से भी हमारे.
Oh, very smart. Okay. How is everyone?
Sir, fine. So fine. Great. Sir, we are good. Sir, we are good. Sir, we are good.
So, are you aware that what are we going to do today?
क्या सर?
कोई बताएगा?
Sir, a guest is gonna come in our meeting and there will be a question answer session in which we will ask
Okay.
our doubts.
So, do you have any questions? I have got few questions from your side, but I think all of them have already been answered earlier. So, if you think that you can have more questions, you can maybe raise your hand or write the chat box, and appropriate questions will be taken during the Q&A session. So he'll be answering the guest. I'll be introducing him because you have already seen that
Good evening, sir.
flyer. So once the session will be started, then I shall introduce him, and then after that we'll have a briefing of the program, whatever we have done so far. Okay, it's the 19th day, so we have done so many things, and I'll try to take you back to the memory lane so that you can just see what we have done with a presentation only. Okay, and then after the briefing, that will be a briefing for everyone, for him as well, because he is going to address, so he should get the sense of the whole program first. Although he knows about whatever activities we are doing in 21-day program, he is very much aware of it.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. And then after the briefing, I shall ask few students, they can come forward and share their experiences. Shantanu sir already reached out to them. So how are we doing it? That few students will give their experience today, few will tomorrow, and the rest one will be the final day, that is the convocation day. Okay, so we call it convocation day. ठीक है, तो आप लोगों का अभी स्कूल खत्म नहीं हुआ, हमने आपकी convocation कर दिया. So you will not get a robe, so you can wear a virtual robe. जैसे वो वंश पहनता है ना, virtual दाढ़ी और मूछ बना लेते हैं, वैसे ही आप लोग virtual robe एक पहन लेना. होता है ना, कॉन्वोकेशन में एक ब्लैक रोब पहनते हैं, है ना? So similar kind of. And so that will be on 30th of May, same time, and that day we shall have more people, more guests, and we'd like to make the whole session quite interesting for you. You will be interacting with one of the renowned personalities as a chief guest. Then one of Delhi's elite schools principal. She will also address you. The monastic members, just like today we have Swami Atmashraddhananda. Similarly, that day also will have someone, and they will give you an address and listen to you, your feedbacks, your responses, your experience. Okay, so on that will happen on 30th. Okay, so see, our guest, he had confirmed that he shall join at 5:30, so we have half an hour. So for half an hour we shall do something and maintain the decorum of the session, so that once he gets inside, he should not feel that, oh baap re, bacche to bahut halla kar rahe hain. Okay,
Sir, I prepared that Shanti mantra that has
great.
उसका
Shanti mantra.
We shall discuss about that tomorrow
in the morning.
morning. So Shantanu sir has reached out to number of students and must have given you one Shanti mantra to prepare. So he must have given you the instructions how you need to do it. So follow that, and there will be an audio as well. So you can follow that audio, and based on that you can get the vibe of it, and similarly you can record yourself. And then when you send your recording, we will combine everyone's voice and try to create a choir of Shanti Mantra. Let's see if it happens. If doesn't, then we can do simultaneously one by one. Okay, we'll try to do that. So for any event, for any final event, for example, or maybe the finale, we start with some good prayer and Shanti Mantra. So we shall begin that day with Shanti Mantra, and then gradually our presentation, then the briefing, then audio visuals, then the addresses of various guests, and finally the vote of thanks. Okay, and उसके बाद हम bye bye.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Mayank, good evening.
सर वो जिसमें आप लोग ऑडियो और पीडीएफ भेजे, उसी में वीडियो बना के भेजना है।
वो तो जब वीडियो बनाएंगे पता चल ही नहीं जाएगा।
तो उसी में भेजना है सर, हम वही पूछ रहे हैं।
जब आप वीडियो बनाएंगे तो आपको पता चल ही नहीं जाएगा।
नहीं मतलब उसी व्हाट्सएप नंबर में ना।
यस यस, उसी व्हाट्सएप नंबर में, उसी व्हाट्सएप नंबर में।
क्या हमें स्टोरी सुनाओगे?
स्टोरी?
गुड इवनिंग सर।
ना एक्टिविटी?
Good evening, sir.
आज हम आपको एक स्टोरी सुनाएंगे। हम तो रोज ही स्टोरी सुनाते हैं, तो आज भी एक स्टोरी सुनाएंगे। आज एक स्टोरी दिखाएंगे आपको, एक वीडियो देखेंगे।
हेलो, गुड इवनिंग सर।
सर ऑन विच टॉपिक?
ये कौन बोला गुड इवनिंग? Okay, so today we shall watch another audio visual. Okay,
co-host बना दीजिए।
yeah. Okay, so see, since he is coming in half an hour, before that let's watch this video and try to live the life of the person who is there in this story. Okay, and get our mind and our heart and thoughts elevated, so that we can welcome Maharaj with full of energy, positivity, and some good vibes. Okay, so this audio visual is about Swami Vivekananda. So far we have heard a lot of stories about his life and various anecdotes, various stories, various events. So I have to tell you one more thing. The guest of today's session Swami Atmashraddhananda. He is the one who has compiled, yesterday I told you, who has compiled all the stories of Swami Vivekananda. Not the story of Swami Vivekananda, but stories which narrated by Swami Vivekananda during his discourses. So wherever he went, Swami Vivekananda was a great storyteller, huh? I tell you, great storyteller. I mean, it's like when he used to sit and narrate stories, people used to gather him like bees. होते ना, bees आ जाती हैं एकदम फूल के ऊपर. He was like that. So whenever he used to speak, okay, I tell you a story, so everybody will be like, oh, there's a story. So in his whole time span, he narrated a lot of stories, various stories. And if you study his work, which is compiled in 9 volumes, which is known as the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. So whatever he has said on different topics, it has been compiled in 9 volumes. Okay, and in each volume you will find there are stories story related to character, stories related to willpower, stories related to faith, determination, all those stories. And when you hear those stories or recite those stories, you also get that willpower and the strength and that positivity. And so these stories were there in different lectures, different chapters. So Swami Atmashraddhananda, when he was the heading a set of organization in Ramakrishna order, so he compiled all those stories. He took all those stories from different sources and made a concrete or a compiled book, which is known as Swami Vivekananda Tells Story. Okay, and he kind of categorized those stories. So if you get that book, it's a very small book. If you get that book, there are topics. Okay, concentration. So there are 5-6 stories on concentration only. Then there will be faith. So there will be 5-6-7 stories on faith. Then self-confidence. There are various stories, and stories are very powerful. And storytelling is also very good art. If you hear stories, you actually go back to that time when somebody is narrating story in front of you, like Shantanu sir does. So when you close your eyes, it seems like you are also going along with him to, and you are also lying under the wish fulfilling tree, and you are just having good time. Okay, so let's watch this audio visual. It is about the life of Swami Vivekananda, very small and concrete audio visual, but it will give you the gist of it. Okay, what Swami Vivekananda was all about and what all things he did during his such a small lifespan. तो मैं शेयर कर रहा हूँ. अच्छा, how many of you are aware of 9/11? In the history, there was 9/11. Kush, yes, tell me, what was 9/11?
Sir, terrorist attack, sir.
Where?
Sir, USA, sir.
US. Okay. Are you, rest of people, are you not aware of it? No. September 11, there were 2 aeroplanes which got terrorists hijacked those planes and got hit on twin towers of US, New York. So जो plane थे वो tower पे टकरा गए और बहुत सारे लोगों की death हो गई. So it was the one of the worst days in the history of US. It was a terrorist attack. Okay, and it happened on September 11. So now this was about one of the 9/11. There was another 9/11. Okay, many years ago there was another 9/11, more than 125 years ago. So what was that? What was that 9/11? Okay, that we will understand when we watch this video. Okay.
What do you think of When you hear the term 9/11, do you think of this? How do we free mankind from intolerance? Who can we take inspiration from to find the ultimate truth and save ourselves from destroying our Mother Earth? Does India have something to contribute to the crisis that is facing humanity? The great monk, Swami Vivekananda, roared the message of the fundamental spiritual unity of life on September 11th, 1893, in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, precisely to answer these questions.
Sisters and brothers of America.
These loving words were enough to captivate everyone. Vivekananda once said,
I have a message to the West as Buddha had a message to the East. I shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with God.
Who was this man? How did he reach the shores of America, Europe, and so many countries around the world? Let us embark upon this journey, a tale that begins in the outskirts of Calcutta, where the Datta family resided.
Swamiji's father was a respected lawyer named Vishwanath. He was married to Bhuvaneshwari Devi, a cheerful, devoted, and deeply religious woman. After praying fervently for a son, Narendra Datta was born on January 12, 1863 on Makar Sankranti Day. Little did they know Naren would usher in a new age of spiritual consciousness throughout the world. Naren was a sweet child, but also had incredible energy and was prone to fits of restlessness at the tender age of 3. His family had a hard time getting him to calm down, and his mother could only calm him by pouring cold water on his head and chanting the name of Shiva in his ear. He needed 2 nurses just to take care of him. Naren also had a great affection and fancy for wandering monks. He would always give anything he had to a sadhu asking for alms, and once gave away his own dhoti as he had nothing else with him. Even after being locked up in his room, he would throw things from his window to traveling sadhus as an offering to them. By age 8, he was in 2nd standard, attending the Metropolitan Institute of Pandits Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. However, studying was hardly something Naren had to spend a lot of time in, so he spent much of his time in other activities. Occasionally, he would gaze off into space, drifting seemingly into some other world, and would proclaim by reading his own palms that he was destined to become a monk. He had a spirit of adventure and fearlessness, and once spent many hours on a tree to prove that no ghost existed in it, as an old man nearby had told him. He later said,
Do not believe a thing because you have read it in a book. Do not believe a thing because another has said it is so. Find out the truth for yourself. That is realization.
Naren attended the Scottish Church College between 1881 and 1884. He grew more intellectual in nature and joined the Brahmo Samaj, a Hindu social reform organization that protested against certain orthodox practices in Hinduism. Dissatisfied with mere intellectualism, the desire to know the ultimate truth and to know God became stronger. He asked many people whether they had seen God, but no one gave a satisfactory answer to him. One of his professors mentioned that the great saint, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, was not too far away, so Naren and 2 of his friends decided to go meet him. The meeting was a strange one, with Sri Ramakrishna talking to Naren as though they had known each other for years. Naren immediately asked the question as to whether Sri Ramakrishna had seen God, and he replied,
Yes, I see him just as I see you here, only in a much more intense sense. If one weeps sincerely for him, he surely manifests himself.
Naren was totally taken by Sri Ramakrishna's direct response. He knew that there was something special to him in spite of the fact that his intellectual side had some trouble completely believing him. Yet it was not long before Naren would completely surrender himself to this wise sage.
After completing college, he was drawn back to Ramakrishna and grew tremendously under his guide. His spiritual training went on for over 4 years and included fun and frolic, as well as intense discussions and teachings of Vedanta, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. By 1885, Sri Ramakrishna was tragically diagnosed with throat cancer, and everyone knew that his end was not far away. Narayan's meditation intensified at this time, and just before Sri Ramakrishna's passing, Narayan had his first experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the total dissolution of oneself into the Brahman or Supreme Divinity. Just before passing away, Sri Ramakrishna passed out saffron robes for all disciples and established Narayan as the next head of the Ramakrishna order. Although all the disciples were in deep mourning when Sri Ramakrishna passed away in 1886, they knew that they had been extraordinarily fortunate to have partaken in his life and teaching. By 1887, Narayan and the remaining disciples established a mutt or monastery at Baranagar near Calcutta, where he gave each of them new names as monks. Amongst them was Gangadhar, who received the name Swami Akhandananda. Swami Akhandananda later became the guru of Sri Guruji Golwalkar, the second head of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Although Narayan initially took the name of Swami Vivedhishananda, it was rarely used, and he eventually took the name of Swami Vivekananda. In 1888, Swamiji began to travel across various parts of India. During his visit to Rajasthan, he met Mangal Singh, a local king who firmly believed that worshipping a stone or an idol was foolish. Swamiji knew that there was no way to intellectually convince him otherwise, so he asked the king's minister to take a picture of the king that was hanging on the wall and spit on it. The minister was shocked by the suggestion and immediately refused to do so. Vivekananda said to the king,
"See, Your Highness, though this is not you in one sense, in another sense it is you. One glance at it makes them see you in it. Thus it also is with the devotees who worship stone images of gods and goddesses."
This was the bold and direct way of Swamiji that brought a change in everyone he met. It was here in Rajasthan that Swamiji met the Raja of Khetri, who gave him the name Vivekananda. Afterwards, he visited Gujarat and traveled through many parts of South India as well. During his journey, he had seen in great depth the kind of poverty, hunger, and degeneration of our ancient Hindu practices all over India. He eventually reached the shores of Kanyakumari, where in frustration, he dove into the water and swam to a large rock, where he meditated for 3 days. Why had India reached this state? In his meditation, he realized,
India shall rise only through a renewal and restoration of that highest spiritual consciousness that has made her at all times the cradle of nations.
He knew that this could only be done, however, by inculcating a spirit of service and by uplifting India's downtrodden masses. But how could he take this message to everyone? In this moment of calling, he looked out to the ocean and realized he would have to go to the west to spread the message of Vedanta. On May 31st, 1893, with the help of money collected by the Raja of Khetri and other disciples, Swami Vivekananda set sail for America by ship. After passing through East Asia, the ship eventually landed at a port in Vancouver. From there, he took a train to Chicago. As the American people were unaccustomed to seeing Hindu monks in saffron clothing, he was mocked and discriminated against by the local populace on several occasions. It was then, in the middle of July 1893, that he also found out that the deadline had already passed for signing up as a delegate for the World Parliament of Religions. Swamiji on multiple occasions thought that he may simply have to return to India. But he knew that the message of Hindu Dharma and universal oneness had to come to the West. His guru Sri Ramakrishna had already given him this directive in his meditations. In an effort to save money, Swamiji moved from Chicago to Boston. There he was able to meet the famous professor J.H. Wright of Harvard University. Professor Wright was so impressed with Swamiji that he insisted that Vivekananda represent Hinduism in the Parliament of Religions.
Professor Wright stated,
"To ask you, Swami, for your credentials is like asking the sun to state its right to shine."
The professor wrote to a friend who was the chairman of the committee of the parliament,
"Here is a man who is more learned than all of our professors put together."
The professor sent Swamiji to Chicago with a train ticket to stay with his friend Dr. Barrows. Unfortunately, upon reaching Chicago, Swamiji realized that he had lost the address and went asking around for Dr. Barrows. Unable to find him, Swamiji spent some nights homeless, finding only a railway freight box to sleep in. One day, while roaming the city, a lady, Mrs. George Hale, asked him where he was from. Realizing his unique background and need, she asked Swamiji to stay at their home, where she and her family helped connect him to the rest of the delegates of the World Parliament of Religions. Again, a divine power had guided Swamiji to the right place in spite of all the obstacles that he had faced. The Parliament of Religions was held in Chicago from September 11 to September 27, 1893. It included representation from various Christian denominations. Swamiji finally came forth to speak. He gazed at the audience for a moment and began,
"Sisters and brothers of America."
Just with that, the whole audience rose up, shouting their applause. After a full 2 minutes, Vivekananda continued,
"As the different streams, having their sources in different places, all mingle their water in the sea, so, O Lord, the different paths which men take, through different tendencies, various though they may appear, crooked or straight, all lead to Thee."
Later on during the Parliament, he said,
"The Hindu refuses to call you sinners. Ye are the children of God, the sharers of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. Ye divinities on earth, sinners! It is a sin to call man so."
The New York Herald wrote,
"Vivekananda is undoubtedly the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions. After hearing him, we feel how foolish it is to send missionaries to this learned nation."
Swamiji's words reflected his direct experience of the divine and thus penetrated deep into the minds of his audience.
Swami Vivekananda had captivated America. His sheer earnestness, sincere emotion, and spirit of universality took the Parliament by storm. His popularity was described aptly by the Boston Evening Transcript, a local newspaper, which stated, 4,000 people in the Hall of Columbus would sit smiling and expectant, waiting an hour or two of other men's speeches to listen to Vivekananda for 15 minutes. The chairman knew the old rule of keeping the best until last. News of Swamiji's popularity spread to India as well. Editorials by various American writers praised Swamiji's unique contribution, even thanking India for having sent him to Chicago. Swamiji's doors were now open to travel about, as he was invited to speak in a variety of public events. He was invited to the homes of many prominent and wealthy individuals, especially near Chicago and the East Coast. Mr. John D. Rockefeller, the famous industrialist, met Swami Vivekananda in Chicago. During their conversation, Vivekananda tried to inspire him into social action and told him that although he was a rich man, he was not the owner of the money he earned. Rockefeller was visibly annoyed. Swami explained to him that he was a trustee of the money and his duty was to do good to the world. Rockefeller did not seem to be impressed. A few days later, he returned with a changed mind and heart. In his hand was a document that had his plans to donate money by creating public institutions. This was Rockefeller's first large donation to public welfare. Later, as the richest man in the world, he would also become a legendary philanthropist who would go on to define the structure of modern philanthropy. Swamiji continued to tour various parts of America, including Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, and other parts of the Midwest. He sometimes would be mistaken as an African American and would be rejected stay in hotels or barbershops. Upon finding out the next day in a newspaper who Swamiji was, they would go to him and apologize. Later on, when a Western disciple asked Swamiji how come he didn't explain who he was, Swamiji replied,
"What? Rise at the expense of another? I did not come to earth for that."
Swamiji even faced a situation where he was invited to a small town in the Midwest, where upon commencing his speech, some in the audience proceeded to fire bullets past him to scare him off. But Swamiji continued unperturbed, and the cowboys who shot the bullets called him a right good fellow, since he didn't show any fear throughout the ordeal. By 1895, Vivekananda had set up a private lecture class in New York, where he discussed different spiritual paths, particularly on Jnana Yoga and Raja Yoga. He then traveled to England and had a lecture tour there as well. During the winter of 1895, Swamiji met Nikola Tesla, the father of electricity and a well-known scientist. Tesla had attended some of Swamiji's talks during the Parliament of Religions and was keenly interested in the Vedantic perspective on the relationship between energy and matter. Swamiji mentioned clearly in this context that,
"I have myself been told by some of the best scientific minds of the day how wonderfully rational the conclusions of Vedanta are. I know one of them personally, who scarcely has time to eat his meal or go out of his laboratory, but who yet would stand by the hour to attend my lectures on the Vedanta. For, as he expresses it, they are so scientific, they so exactly harmonize with the aspirations of the age and with the conclusions to which modern science is coming at the present time."
In England, Swamiji met Margaret Noble, who became his disciple and took the name Sister Nivedita. She was a rare example of a woman with a deep spiritual quest, as well as a profound love and compassion for the people of India. During this time, Swamiji also sent a series of letters to his disciples, as well as brother disciples in Baranagar, to develop a movement wherein spirituality would not just be about one's own salvation, but about serving mankind. In one letter to his brother disciple, he stated,
"You have renounced everything. Come, now is the turn for you to banish the desire for peace too. Don't worry in the least, heaven or hell, don't care for anything, but go, my boy, and spread the name of the Lord from door to door. It is only by doing good to others that one attains to one's own good, and it is by leading others to bhakti and mukti that one attains them oneself."
These words provided the inspiration that ultimately led to the founding of the Ramakrishna Mission. By 1897, Swami Vivekananda left America and arrived in Colombo, Sri Lanka. He was given an ecstatic welcome there by thousands of people. His voyage continued through India and was filled with earnest devotees and people waiting to hear Swami Vivekananda's inspiring words. He spoke on the great spiritual heritage of India, as well as the need for the social upliftment of India's masses. He said,
"Service to humanity is service to God."
The series of lectures he gave through this journey gave rise to the book From Colombo to Almora, which encompassed the patriotic fervor and spiritual intensity that he charged everyone with. In 1899, Swamiji took a second trip to America, visiting the West Coast and establishing Vedanta societies in San Francisco and New York. He also visited Europe as well as Japan, attending various conferences on religion. By 1901, he returned to India. Tragically, his health was declining severely due to asthma and diabetes, and he had told several people that he would not live to be 40. Swamiji passed away, attaining Mahasamadhi on July 4th, 1902 while he was meditating, and was cremated on the banks of the Ganga. Swami Vivekananda's life was a tribute to Hindu Dharma, a dedication to the spirit of universal peace, and an inspiration for all. He spoke both of the need to develop an indomitable will in the face of difficulty, as well as the need to imbibe deep humility and serve your fellow human being. Few have inculcated both qualities so completely and manifested it into their lives as a role model for all to come. Come, join Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh in celebrating this year the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda to spread his message and imbibe his spirit of selfless service within each other.
That was about Swami Vivekananda. Okay? सबको आया समझ में? You got introduced to his life from childhood till he became Swami Vivekananda. How Narendranath, his name was Narendranath, became Swami Vivekananda. Shantanu, महाराज आ चुके हैं क्या? Is he here?
मुझे दिख तो नहीं रहा.
Okay. Okay. So great. We have kind of got this vibe now, and a lot of new questions have arrived. So I think we shall start our Q&A session with those questions only.
Yes, कुछ आपको कुछ कहना है क्या?
यस सर, वो सर आपने वो बताया नहीं सर, 9/11/1893 जो था.
हाँ, मैंने बताया नहीं.
नो सर.
9/11/1893 को स्वामी विवेकानंद ने शिकागो में पार्लियामेंट ऑफ रिलीजन में लेक्चर दिया था, जो हमने अभी देखा. उनकी पूरी जर्नी में हमने देखा दैट ही रीच्ड यूएस, Chicago, and that was the day 1893. It's a historical day. Okay, so we all, as you said, people who are the fan of Swami Vivekananda, they celebrate 12th January as a youth day. They celebrate 11th September as the Parliament of the Chicago Address Day. We call it Chicago Address. Okay. So you can also search for that address which he delivered there, and that address made him what today we know as Swami Vivekananda. Okay, so this was about his life and his message of universal acceptance, universal religion. Let's wait for him. He shall join. Okay, so if you have any question during the program, and because it is an opportunity, you can ask the issues, you can ask related to whatever you have studied so far, and related to your own personal questions as well. And he'll be happy to answer. So what we can do is, if during the program, if you have any question, whatever he is telling you, if you have some more inquiries, so maybe you can just write in the chat box. Okay, Shantanu sir will keep an eye and shall take important questions from there. So he will answer right away. So let me reach out to him. I'm just sending him the message, or maybe I'm calling him, so he will join.
Yes, वीरा, आपको कुछ पूछना है?
Yes sir. सर, स्वामी विवेकानंद कौन सी लैंग्वेज में बोलते थे, संस्कृत या फिर हिंदी?
संस्कृत, हिंदी, बांग्ला और उन्हें बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस आती थी. कोई एक लैंग्वेज में वो बात नहीं करते थे. हाँ, लेकिन जहाँ पर वो थे शिकागो में, या जब वो विदेशों में गए, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम उन्होंने इंग्लिश में लेक्चर्स दिए, और उनको बंगाली भी आती थी, हिंदी भी आती थी, संस्कृत भी आती थी.
ऐसा कहें कि उनको क्या नहीं आता था?
ऐसा तो सब, कोई एक ऐसी चीज ही नहीं है जो आती नहीं है.
यस, तो जब हम कहते हैं कि हम स्वामी विवेकानंद को अपना आइडियल माने या अपना हीरो माने, तो आई थिंक पूरे, क्या बोलते हैं ना आप लोगों की लैंग्वेज में, आंख बंद करके आप मान सकते हो. You don't need to run behind n numbers of heroes, okay, because they won't have time for you. But you can always make him your hero. He will have all time for you, okay. Swami Vivekananda has got all time for all of us. Whatever work he had done, it is compiled in 9 volumes. You can go there and read about it, get some inspiration, bring that inspiration in your everyday life, and also enhance your life the way many people. We have already seen the example of a lot of people. I think Maharaj is here now. Yes, I can see him.
Yes.
Yes, he is here. Maharaj, can you hear me? Pranam Maharaj. I think I have to make him co-host now and ask him to unmute.
Hello.
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, Maharaj, can you hear us?
Sound is not coming.
But Maharaj,
No
we
sound
can
is
hear,
coming.
we can hear you, Maharaj.
Here it's fine.
Okay, let me call you then.
There's some issue from your side. Yes. Yes, I am. But unless I get to hear from you.
Can you hear me now, Maharaj?
Here there's no sound coming from the computer.
But we can hear you actually, and everybody else can hear me as well. But your
Yes,
voice is coming. Your video is also coming.
Oh, I don't know. Here this side, it's only one-sided. Until I get to here, then how would I respond?
Can you see everything, Maharaj? Can you see your?
I can see 2 participants.
Okay.
It's written as, I mean, the young boy by name of Smith.
Okay.
And I can see Shantanu also.
Okay. So that means, are you using the mobile device or the laptop?
No, I'm using a laptop.
Laptop. Okay. So there could be some issue with the speaker, maybe.
So I will leave and rejoin.
Yeah, that would be great. Maybe that is the only, that is the best solution actually. Yeah. Okay. हाँ. Some tech error. कोई है हमारे यहाँ पे टेक ट्रबल शूटर जो हेल्प कर सकता है? अद्वैत, कान पे हेडफोन लगाया इतना बड़ा, कुछ करो, कैसे होगा? ओके. अच्छा, अगर कुछ नहीं होगा तो फिर हम एक देसी जुगाड़ यूज करेंगे.
सर यही ठीक है कि सर के पास अगर ईयरफोन्स हैं तो वो ईयरफोन्स कनेक्ट कर लें, क्योंकि शायद से उनका स्पीकर खराब है.
अद्वैत, डू यू रिमेंबर हिम?
यस, ही वाज एट आनंदम.
ओके, लेट्स सी. अभी दोबारा से आते हैं तो देखते हैं उसके बाद.
Otherwise, क्या कहना?
If he has any kind of speaker or kind of earphones, so he can use them.
Yeah, but now the voice was clear.
But he cannot hear us.
Yeah, he cannot hear us.
Might be problem in speaker.
Sir, but when he said that I am rejoining again, then you said okay, and he said okay, I am rejoining again. Means he can hear us.
No, I was on phone, beta.
He was on phone also.
Yeah, we were talking on phone. Let's see. Let's patience, perseverance, and practice. है ना? Let's be patient now.
तेजल क्या कहना है?
सर हम इनको ना जानते हैं, ये मेरे स्कूल में आए थे.
अरे वाह.
सेजल, कहाँ से हो आप?
सर रामकृष्ण मिशन स्कूल से थोड़ा।
जमशेदपुर ओके।
यस सर, हम उनको जानते हैं, वो मेरे स्कूल में बहुत बार आए हैं।
वाह, तो हमारे बीच में तो सेजल सेलिब्रिटी बन के आ गई हैं।
इसलिए
लेट्स सी।
पोर्शा,
सर आपको पता है मैं त्रिपुरा पर बॉर्न हुई हूँ, पर मैं दिल्ली में मतलब मैं रहती हूँ उसमें। त्रिपुरा में मेरी सारे फैमिलीज रहते हैं। हम ना कोलकाता में हम जो बेलूर मठ जो है वहाँ पर हम जाते ईयर्स में। मेरे वहाँ पर दादी मतलब दादी पापा पूजा देकर आते हैं।
ओके,
मैं भी जाती हूँ।
अच्छी बात है।
मतलब वहाँ पर स्वामी विवेकानंद का कितना मतलब भक्त है पूरा। दुर्गा पूजा भी हम करते हैं, सब पूजा हम करते हैं।
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Right, but I'm not getting sound from your side.
अभी भी साउंड नहीं आ रहा है महाराज? हेलो?
No sound is coming. Not about all the sound barta illa. Otherwise, we'll have to. I don't know why the sound is not coming from your side. Everything else is okay. Unmute yours.
Maharaj, can you hear me?
Now it is coming. Now it's coming.
Acha, I'm just disconnecting this phone. Now I'm speaking on Zoom. Maharaj, can you hear us now?
Yes, yes. Now I can hear you.
Great. Finally.
Finally, it took some time because all this nitty-gritty of pressing button here and pressing button there. That's all about today's knowledge about digital technology, which we need to have.
I got worried actually because because I thought that we have very crucial time and now technology is taking us away from the agenda. So what should we do now?
Fine.
A lot of students started sending the text and telling me to give you some instructions that do like this, do like that. So they were also not able to wait. So they were also wondering that what had happened. Anyways, Maharaj, thank you so much for joining. And we can't see you right now. We can.
Nor can I see you. I'm seeing only a few people. Now I'm able to see.
Can I see me now?
Yes, you can see me now.
We cannot see you because we can see the Thakur's picture. Yes, now we can.
Yes.
Now it's fine. Now Shantanu can put spotlight on you so that kids can just see into your eyes and receive all the knowledge. Yeah, great. Okay, Shantanu, I'm sharing the screen right now. We shall start with the formal introduction of Maharaj, and then then only we can bring him on spotlight. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Very fast. 2-3 minutes, then you can.
So, dear children, good evening once again. And today we have another special day, as I have already told you, because we have a person, a guest, a mentor, a guiding light, whatever I call him, Swami Atmashraddhananda. Let me give you a brief introduction. That Swami Atmashraddhananda is a senior monk of Ramakrishna Order and is currently serving as the secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Kanpur. Maharaji has been the guide for the Vivekananda Study Circle of IIT Madras, Chennai, for more than 10 years. And he is the former editor of the 100-year-old spiritual and cultural monthly of Ramakrishna Math, that is known as the Vedant Kesari. And he is also known for his reflective writing and speaking style, which you will get to know once we'll interact with him. Maharaji has been the author of numerous books covering Vedant philosophy. And one of the books I told you that you can refer that book and get to know about all those stories Swami Vivekananda narrated during his discourses and lectures. Maharaji speaks regularly at Vivekananda Samiti of IIT Kanpur. And as I said, he has been the supporting pillar and guiding light to Indus Quality Foundation. And it's my pleasure. And I offer my sincere pranam to Swamiji and welcome him in this 21-day power challenge evening session. Before we shall invite Maharaj for the blessings and the Q&A session, I would like to give a brief about this 21-day power challenge. And this will be a kind of going back to memory lane for the children as well. So this 21-day power challenge we started on 10th of May. So this word 21-day power challenge is made up of 3 components: 21 days, power, and challenge. So why 21 days? This was the question. And we learned that when we do certain actions on a repetitive mode, then these actions become our habits. And the habits are the foundation of forming character. So that's why we started with this program, 21 days. As Swami Vivekananda said that character is repeated habits, and repeated habits alone can reform character. So this 21-day program is about identifying those hidden potential, identifying those qualities which will help us to form our character and which is the basis of personality development. And then the second word is power. So we're not talking about the power which is coming from outside and helping our appliances, but this power is something different. And we learned that it is a combination of various powers. Powers of body, power of mind, power of our supreme intelligence, and we named it intellect. Then comes the source of every power, that is power of spirit. And after that, the final component, that is the challenge. And what was the challenge here? These were the challenges. On very first day, we circulated a form where you all had written that what are your expectations and aspirations regarding this program. And you all came up with these words, these sentences. You wanted to make your mind sharp. You wanted to learn yoga, meditation. You wanted to bring them in your everyday life. And one of you said that hamari life bahut achhi ho jayegi. And I'm sure that after 21 days program, or after when you bring all these habits in your everyday's activities, your life will definitely become Great. So we made a goal and we took inspiration from Swamiji's idea that make one idea your life. So in these 21 days, we made few goals in front of us. We kept few goals in front of us and we kind of lived all those goals every day. Early morning, 8 a.m. we used to wake up and we used to do yoga and meditation. Then in the evening session, we used to gather and used to have more than 1.5 hour long sessions full of fun, joy, activities. So this one idea of making those goals in front of us and not worrying about those goals, but focusing on the means for 21 days. This was the ideal in front of us. This idea given by Swami Vivekananda. And what did we do? We did a lot of activities. Early morning yoga, meditation, various sessions, activity-based sessions. Then we learned about our personality. What are the different dimensions of our personality? How can we reach out to each dimension and finally reach out to the core of our personality where perfection and excellence lie? This is what we learned. We also had fun and joyful activities. We also learned about mind and various states of mind. How can we control this mind? What are different levels of mind? What were the characteristics of mind? And why it is important to control this mind? This is what we learned. And a lot of activities where a lot of people came and demonstrated certain skills like music session, and you also reciprocated in a same manner. So a couple of you played tabla, then few played flute. So this was a holistic intervention where early morning yoga meditation, storytelling and audiovisual sessions, self-exploration sessions with painting, craft and all those different activities, we reached out to the dormant intuitive dimensions of our personality and we came to know that these are the hidden potentials, and if I can work with full faith and determination, I can reach out to that potential and bring that potential in my everyday life. And to achieve those goals, we had this threefold plan, which we all know. FDP. F stands for faith, D stands for determination, and P is practice. So we can understand that from very first day, we started like a marathon, and now we are 50. That time we were around 100 or 120. But as I said, that this 21 day is all about checking your determination, checking your faith, and checking whether you are bringing that in your everyday life or not by practicing it. And you all did that. That is the reason today we are in the 19th day and we have someone who will going to answer our questions, who will inspire us by various ideals and teachings of Swami Vivekananda. And that is the reward of this 21-day journey. And then we learned that during this journey, of course, it will be difficult, but whenever we have a journey, there are certain stopovers of journey, and we stop, we enjoy those stopovers, and then we move forward. So similarly, in this journey, we had these 3 stopovers. Those were joy, happiness, and peacefulness. So whatever activity we did, games or interactive sessions, brainstorming session, we always kept joy, happiness, and peace with it, and learned how we can become more self-aware of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and understanding the reality around us. So this was the roadmap, and this roadmap was to finding a better version of yourself, myself, and today we can say that yes, we are the better version of ourselves. The action plan was you all are maintaining a daily journal where you are writing your thoughts and whatever you are learning, and making that journal your life book and sharing those with us for guidance and support. And after this presentation, a few students will come forward and share their experiences, and then Maharaj will come and we can take this session forward. And this was our schedule. Every morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. we conduct yoga and meditation session. And during evening, we are conducting a lot of mind power games and brain exercises, storytelling and interactive sessions, stories from the life of Swami Vivekananda, music sessions, group discussion, and Vedant-centric personality development sessions. We all have understood what are the different dimensions and factors which define our personality, and how can we reach out to the core of it and make our personality harmonious. And finally, this image which we every day we keep bringing in front of our eyes, and we keep repeating these lines that we are the creators of our own destiny. And this whole 21-day journey is all about creating that destiny only. So we work on our thought level, and then from action, then from there our habit, from habit our character, and finally our destiny. This is what we have learned, and this practical formula we are going to apply once this 21-day will be over, and we shall bring this learning in our everyday life. So thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Shantanu, and he can take names of few children. They can come forward and share their experiences. Shantanu, over to you.
Thank you, sir. आज हमारे साथ कुछ चैलेंजर्स हैं जो इस 21 डे पावर चैलेंज में हमारे साथ 21 दिनों से हैं। आज हम 19 डे में हैं, 19वें दिन में हैं। तो सबसे पहले मैं परी अरोरा को बुलाना चाहूँगा, तो हम हमारे साथ अपने एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करेंगे। परी अरोरा, प्लीज। यस।
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I am Pari Arora from class 7th, Bharati Public School, Delhi. Today, I would like to share my journey of this 21-day power challenge. The one word which would describe this challenge is amazing, because 21 days are not enough to change one's personality and state of mind. It's quite difficult, but Pankaj sir and Shantanu sir can do it, and they have already done it. They involved us in many activities which gave us a lot of morals and energy. We did yoga and meditation, which gave a lot of peace and calmness to my mind in this tough time of pandemic. They made us laugh and enjoy. I really enjoyed everything. It was a great experience being here and joining everyone. I would like to thank the IQF team, Pankaj sir, Shantanu sir, and my teachers as well, because they gave us the chance to be the part of this challenge. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Pari. Thank you so much. And the next is Simarpreet Kaur.
So, IQF, Club of Service, hashtag 21 Days Power Challenge. Release your true potential. Hello everyone, myself Simarpreet Kaur from Bharati Public School, Swasti Virar, class 7th. I am very lucky that I got a chance to speak in front of you all. Today, I am going to tell you my experience and my journey of hashtag 21 Days Power Challenge. Before I start, I want to give one thought of Swami Vivekananda, that he said that we make our own goals. So remember this thought and let's start. So my journey with IQF Indus Quality Foundation started from 10th May 2021. First day, when I was sitting before evening session, I thought that 21 days power challenge will be not much interesting, but I was wrong. It was such an amazing challenge. When after a 1 week, I observed many changes in myself. It was very outstanding. When I do yoga in morning, I feel very, very, very good. My whole day goes super duper best, and meditation keeps my mind calm. So on that day, I took pledge that I will attend whole 21-day power challenge and learn something new. As we all know that it takes 21 days to form a habit. A special thank to IQF team, Pankaj sir, Shantanu sir, and my teachers as well. So now I will want to tell you that what is IQF? IQF is not for profit. That started on 1995 by a group of IIT. It is a foundation that believes in Swami Vivekananda. This foundation wants to give the knowledge to every single person in this world. They promote the know-how of quality. So do you know the mission of IQF? There are the two missions of the IQF: to spread the knowledge in the full world, and second, to bring positive behavior change in a society. So I would like to tell that also, that what I have learned in this 21 days power challenge. I have learned that profit is not everything. Second, be fit from mind and body, and spread knowledge in world, because it is only the thing that can help everyone. I learned many things, and some changes I saw in myself were that before I was little lazy, but when I do yoga, so I feel very good and fit from my mind and body. I feel more active from my mind and from my body. My mind is relaxed and no tension is around me due to the meditation. And due to the yoga, I also feel very energetic and flexibility in my body. Last but not the least, I am delighted and happy to join 21 days power challenge. I feel very nice. And I would like to thank you to the Pankaj sir and the Shantanu sir, and last but not the least, my dearest teachers. I hope IQF will plan more such clubs and meetings for our future, in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Simarpreet. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful experiences with us. And now, अब मैं बुलाना चाहूँगा अभिनव पांडे को. Yes, Abhinav.
Good evening, my dear sisters and brothers. I am Abhinav Pandey, a challenger of 21 days power challenge. I am going to share my experiences after these 21 days. I got most of my expectations completed and got some other qualities too. I expected that I will be mentally and physically fit and more active, and I became. I didn't expect that I will learn so many motivational lessons. I got a habit of doing yoga. If I forgot, I felt like I was missing something and recognized it. I got more concentrated because of the meditation sessions in the class. I got calmer and anger free. I got more confident. I am able to solve my problems more easily and got stress free. Now I am totally changed person thanks to both the sirs and IQF team. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you so much. These are the 3 challenges from 21 day power challenge. और भी बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो आगे आने वाले दिनों में अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर करेंगे हमारे साथ. पंकज सर, now over to you.
Thank you everyone for sharing your experiences. I know that all of you want to share it and want to just come out of your space and want to tell it to everyone, but we don't have that much time. Okay, we have a dedicated time slot, so we have to maintain the dignity of time as well, and moreover we have a guest today. So it's a great opportunity for all of us, because महाराज से हम आज जितना कुछ जान पाएंगे वो हमारे लिए क्या होगा बताओ, क्या होगा? सागर होगा, ठीक है, एकदम सागर, ज्ञान का सागर होगा. जो क्वेश्चंस आप लोगों ने हम सबको आपने हमसे पूछे हैं, हमने आंसर भी किया है. They are not satisfied with our answers, maybe. So they have kind of took the same questions once again. But Maharaj's perspective will give a reinforcement to that learning which they have already received. And I'm sure that after this Q&A session, they will keep these answers with them and try to bring in their everyday life and just check the practicality of those ideals. And now I would like to invite Maharaj to give us some blessings before we can begin with Q&A, and the guidance and the feedback will be really great. Over to Maharaj.
Thank you, Pankaj, and thank you, Shantanu. My greetings to you and all my young friends. Am I audible?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. So I shall begin with a salutation to Swami Vivekananda, a pranama mantra in Sanskrit. This salutation was composed by one of the brother monks of Swami Vivekananda. We call it Swamiji ka pranam mantra. ठीक है? Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. I'm very glad that I'm here with you all. My thanks to IQF, my thanks to Pankaj especially for providing this platform, providing this time to spend some, I would say, precious moments with the young minds. You know, all of you, all the young friends who are attending this, all of you are senior to us. अब हम सबसे सीनियर हैं, मेरे से भी सीनियर है और पंकज और शांतनु से भी सीनियर है. सीनियर मतलब क्या? सीनियर मतलब इसके पास कुछ विशेष हो, ज्यादा हो. So number of years, suppose now whatever my age, so I am senior in one way, but you are senior in another way. You have more number of years than us. ठीक है ना? More number of years than all of us. Because you are very young, you are in your teens or less than teens. तो आपके पास तो हमसे double triple time है. Since you have more time, so you are more senior to us. Anyway, a lighter sense. We just saw, I just observed you speaking. I also saw the presentation which Pankaj had given. Now, there was a picture of the person who was, you know, making himself come out of that piece of stone, right? That is called man, the maker of his own destiny. That's the picture depicts a sculpture which is about that idea. So man is one's own, you know, maker. That's a very interesting way of putting it. That man has got self-will. We have a vision, and we can take ourselves out from that something which is very raw. अच्छा, आप सब ने एक शब्द सुना होगा. There's a term called Sanskriti, culture. संस्कृति हम सब जानते हैं, भारतीय संस्कृति, culture, Indian culture. So what is the meaning of Sanskriti? एक संस्कृत का शब्द है. So how do you understand the word Sanskriti? It comes from a root word called kri. Kri मतलब करना. और क्री के साथ ता लगा दिया तो कृत मतलब जो करा हुआ है या बनाया हुआ गया है. सो उसके आगे और एक शब्द लगा लिया प्रा, तो क्या हो गया? प्राकृत. आप सब जानते हैं एक शब्द है प्रकृति. प्रकृति मतलब नेचर. that which is available to us from God. We call it prakriti. जैसे पहाड़ है, हवा है, या पत्थर है, या मिट्टी है, या रेत है. All that which is given to us from the nature, we call it as prakriti. Now, it is the fact of life that man has got capacity. The human beings have got a capacity to refine prakriti and to control prakriti. जैसे आप अपने अपने घर में बैठे and you have a roof above you, which means you have taken the things from the nature and created a house. Similarly, this idea of prakriti is applied in different areas, whether it is the clothes that we wear, the food that we eat, the houses in which we live, the painting that we have on our walls, and more than that, the language that we speak, the way we behave with each other, the manners that we have, all that comes under refinement of prakriti, which is called Sanskriti. जब प्रकृति को refine किया जाता है, then you get संस्कृति. और मान लीजिए आपने संस्कृति बनाई, जैसे एक पत्थर पड़ा हुआ था, and you are a great sculptor, you make a beautiful temple out of it, and अंदर में beautiful statues are there, Vigraha is there being worshipped, there is a pillar with so much of design on it. So प्रकृति से संस्कृति बन गई. Now after many years it is left like a piece of architecture, and लोग उसको visit करना शुरू करते हैं. और कोई व्यक्ति आता है, अच्छा क्या सुंदर है, वो अपने मित्र के साथ आता है, अपने साथ में एक पेंसिल है और पेन है, और उस पे लिख देता है, उसका नाम है रमेश, and he writes on that his friend's name is Suresh. रमेश loves Suresh. लिख देते हैं ना कभी कभी, कुतुब मीनार के उधर जाओ, ये सब people have written all those things. So that is known as विकृति, मतलब उसको spoil कर दिया. So you have prakriti, you have Sanskriti, and you have विकृति. So human beings, जब हमारा जन्म होता है, तो जन्मना जायते शूद्रो संस्कारेण ब्राह्मणः, ये एक बड़ा प्रसिद्ध संस्कृत का श्लोक है. इसका अर्थ है कि जब हमारा जन्म होता है तो हम ऑलमोस्ट लाइक इन बेसिक फंक्शंस वी आर लाइक एनिमल्स. अच्छा, एनिमल्स में क्या होता है, वो खाते हैं, टॉयलेट जाते हैं, फिर वो सो जाते हैं, या फिर उनको भय होता है इत्यादि. तो हितोपदेश नाम की एक बड़ी प्रसिद्ध किताब है, उसमें इसके बारे में लिखा है, आहार निद्रा भय मैथुनम च समानमेतत् पशुभिः नराणाम. तो पशुओं के और मनुष्यों के, मैन एंड एनिमल्स, दीज थिंग्स आर कॉमन. लेकिन मतलब क्या कॉमन है, आहार निद्रा भय मैथुनम, ये जो बेसिक फंक्शंस. लेकिन हमको एजुकेशन मिलती है, ठीक ठीक एजुकेशन मिले, ठीक कल्चरल ट्रेनिंग मिले अपने बड़ों से, अपने एटमॉस्फेयर से, अपने स्कूल से, देन वी आर रिफाइंड. जो प्रकृत है वो संस्कृत हो जाता है. So this is what you are doing in this 21-day challenge. You are trying to refine yourself. जैसे आपके पास दूध है, आपको मालूम है दूध से मक्खन कैसे बनता है. अब बहुत सा दूध है, फिर दूध को बॉयल किया, फिर उसमें दही के लिए खट्टा लगा दिया, और फिर जब खट्टा बन गया फिर उसको अच्छी तरह से मंथन करते हैं. They go on with an electric thing or by hand. उसको जब अच्छी तरह से करते रहते हैं तो जो उसके अंदर का जो हिडन या बैठा हुआ जो मक्खन है वो ऊपर आ जाता है. तो मक्खन कोई और चीज से नहीं आता, वो दूध से ही बनता है. ठीक है, वैसे ही हमारे अंदर में जो शक्तियां हैं, हम उनको अच्छी तरह से मंथन करते हैं. We churn them well, and when we churn them, our refined powers are manifest. मैंने अपनी बात क्लियर कर दी ना, समझ आ रहा है ना आपको कि हमारे अंदर जो शक्तियां हैं उसका आप यू आर ट्राइंग टू ब्रिंग देम आउट. सो यू आर इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ एजुकेशन, you are in the process of learning, you are in the process of churning out your own possibilities. So I am very happy with you that you are all trying to work on this power challenge, how you bring your power out. So I have a few questions with me, and I don't want to now give a more longer talk. I only wish you all the best, and I wish you a real meaningful and very beneficial journey ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj, for opening this session with such a great learning. I think one of the questions you have already answered. Sejal and Nandini, they had a question that why humans are different from animals. So that is the major difference, that the transformation
So
from...
I can still answer this question further.
Okay.
That is, what is the difference between human beings and animals? So first of all, what are the similarities? Similarities I told you. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunam cha. These four things, according to our scriptures. Now, agar aap, you go into our scientific language, you might be able to add some more things. Like the animals are not having hands that we have. We have a hand, especially we have the thumb. What's the meaning of having a thumb? You can hold something. And when you can hold something, you can do something. You can take a piece of wood and go on working on it and you make a parrot out of it. So this is from a scientific language that man is endowed with certain faculties, physical faculties. Usse bhi zyada jo hai, we have mental faculties. As much as development human beings have of their brain, animals don't have. Animals have some brain, but not so much as human beings have. Shri Ram Krishna Dev का एक छोटा सा एक एग्जाम्पल है. कहते हैं कि एक बार भगवान राम जा रहे थे. We all know that Ram, Lakshman, Sita went to jungle. जब भगवान राम जा रहे थे तो एक बड़ा हाथी दिखाई दिया जंगल में. Seeing that, भगवान Ram tells to Lakshmana, see bhai Lakshman, it is an elephant. It is so huge. It is so big in size, but he cannot think of the infinite reality as human beings can. Human beings can think of the infinite reality. एक तो reality जो हम देख रहे हैं ना, हम देख रहे हैं digital, non-digital reality we are seeing, but we can use the telescope and we can see many more things. But even beyond the eyes we can go. We can develop an inner intuition and we can see what is beyond visibility. So this is another one capacity. And third thing which makes human beings special is that they can develop the power of unselfishness to a very great extent. अब जो एनिमल होते हैं उनका कोई अनसेल्फिशनेस तो इतना ही होता है ना, अपने बच्चों के लिए थोड़ा अनसेल्फिश हो सकते हैं बस. But we can have great people like Buddha. 2 days back, अपना बुद्ध जयंती था. On 26th, we had the birthday of Bhagwan Buddha. So he was so great. After 2,500 years, he is being remembered. Do we remember a dog or an animal after some few days, a few years? We don't. We remember other human beings. Why? Because of their greatness. And greatness basically means giving up their smallness and thinking and believing and doing great things. So these three things you can say what makes us special as human beings.
Great. So this was asked by Sejal and Nandini, and I hope Maharaj has given the broader perspective of this answer to this question. Now let's take the question of Prisha and Chinmay. Why I'm taking two names? Because they have similar questions. So very valid question they have asked. As we know that human beings have the higher capabilities, because of the intelligence, because of the mind. But the same mind is something which is beyond the control of human beings as well. And majority of people, they are the slaves of their mind, because mind has got desires, mind has got thoughts, a lot of things. And there is one thing which everyone keeps talking, especially the young ones. Whenever we discuss with them, they always come up with the question, sir, how can I control this anger? Okay, so whenever something is not happening according to my will, I get frustrated, and suddenly that anger comes into the picture, and I maybe my whole people around me or the work I am doing, it gets disturbed completely. So how can I control that anger and be more calm and more focused, and be self-aware of those obstruction or repulsion which are happening in when I get angry? So this question.
So the question is about anger and anger management.
Anger management.
Right. So I shall ask you a question. Suppose you have got a computer. So how do you run the computer? आप computer को तभी चला पाएंगे when you know basics of computer. You need not be a very big engineer, but you must have a knowledge about what computer consists of, what computer can do and what computer cannot do. Some people say, "अरे computer have सब कुछ कर लेता है." No, computer झाड़ू नहीं लगा सकता, computer खाना नहीं बना सकता. It has limitations, but it is remarkably facile in doing many things. So what I'm saying is, before you are able to handle anything, you must have a knowledge about it. Suppose आपके पास knowledge नहीं है, तो आप उसको mishandle करेंगे. You would not believe this, but I have heard it from an elderly lady that when she was in her middle time, that is in 1960s or 70s, she said electricity came to her village, and उससे पहले तो वो जलाते थे candle light या lantern. So what do you do with the lantern? They simply, अच्छा अब time हो गया, रात को सोना है, तो just put it off, और उसको जोर से एक फूंक मार दिया, you blow at it, it is off. So when the bulb came, these people thought it was also a kind of candle. So at night when they have to put it off, they used to go and blow at it. फूंक मारते थे उसको. किसी ने बताया ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, इसको तो वहां पे एक स्विच होता है, स्विच ऑन करना और ऑफ करना. Similar thing is about mind. What is it, mind? So about mind, so much research has been done. We have researches done in the Western world, America में, Europe में, और उन्होंने they have developed what they call as the today's psychology is known as the positive psychology. लेकिन उससे पहले जो थे दूसरी psychology थी. But the study of mind in the West, मतलब American या Europe की तरफ, rather recent in the sense maybe 150, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 120 साल पुरानी है. उससे पहले इतना डीप वहां नहीं जाते थे. लेकिन इंडिया में, right from the beginning of Indian civilization, we have been studying mind, and we have come up with what we know as the Yoga Shastra. Now आप योग करते हैं ना, तो योग में क्या होता है, आप basically you do certain exercise or certain postures, but that is one side of the pranayama, and posture is one side of yoga. There's another side, a deeper side of yoga, which is understanding the mind, cultivating the mind. How do you do that? So कहते हैं कि mind में, by mind, it is called antakarana. In Sanskrit में mind को antakarana कहते हैं. I'm not going to give a detailed lecture on what is antakarana and all that. Just saying that there is an instrument called antakarana. एक aspect जो अंतःकरण का क्या होता है कि जो बाहर की चीजों को उठा के अंदर रख लेता है, उसको अंतःकरण कहते हैं. समझ रहे हो? बाहर की चीजें हैं, जैसे वो खड़ा है, वो स्कूटर है, अच्छा स्कूटर को उठा के ये तो मेरा है, दिस इज माय स्कूटर, और इफ यू टेक इट आई विल बी वेरी एंग्री विद इट. कैन यू टेक माय स्कूटर? तो बाहर की चीज को उठा के अंदर रख लिया. So that is one aspect of antakarana. Now let's come to very specific issue of what is anger. Krodha. What is krodha? Very simple. मेरे अंदर कुछ इच्छा है. I want to have certain thing, or I want certain thing to happen in a particular way, which means I have an expectation. Either I have an expectation, or I am having a desire, or I have set very high standards. So for instance, suppose I am a volleyball coach and I find somebody is not playing well. So I become very angry with him. Why? Because I want to set a very high standard of what is playing. So when this desire or expectation or setting a high standard is not fulfilled, it is like creating an obstacle in the flow of a river or a flow of water. आपने देखा कब क्या होता है जब flow of water होता है? Suppose now it is raining. You have got a lot of water and you obstruct it. तुम्हारी in your roof there is so much of water and you obstruct it by, which means the drainage pipe is not open, it is clogged. What will happen? The water will overflow because so much rain has come and it may break something. This is called the phenomena of anger. Which means I have got a desire, when it is obstructed, I react, and that reaction is called anger. That I have a desire, I want certain thing, and when that is not happening, I react. Second chapter. के बारे में सोचते रहते हैं. Develop a liking for it, and that liking becomes a desire. Okay. So, like it is like this: you are constantly listening to an advertisement, and that advertisement creates a desire in you to have that something. Dhyayate vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate. This is a Sanskrit word. So I keep listening to, let's say, Lifebuoy, at least 5. So then I develop a liking for Lifebuoy. The moment I go out to shop to buy Lifebuoy, I say, please, to go buy a soap, I say, give Lifebuoy. The Lifebuoy is not available, I become angry. Why? Because I develop a great attachment to the idea of having a Lifebuoy. बात समझ आ रही है ना कि it is a development of deep attachment and desire. When that is obstructed, we call it anger. तो पहले तो हमने मशीन को समझ लिया. मैंने कहा ना, first we should understand how anger works. This is how anger works. Now, how do we control anger or manage anger? One thing is, we must be very aware why my anger is coming. Should I justify it? Should I say, it is good to be angry? So I should be aware, I must be able to understand the cause of my anger. Second thing, जो very important है, जब anger आता है ना, तो एक और चीज होती है. We forget what is right and wrong. फिर किसी को गुस्सा आया, उसने एक चीज उठा के किसी को मार दी. कोई व्यक्ति जब मारता है तो उसके पीछे एंगर होगा ना. Anger gets converted into a violent action. So we must go right to this to the core. We should not allow that stage come. If that stage comes, it becomes difficult. And tie your hands. Why are you becoming angry and hurting somebody? So we must go back to that point. अच्छा, क्या है? ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसः, मनुष्य में ऐसी इच्छाएं होती हैं और इच्छाओं से वो he develops anger. Second thing, if you become angry, whenever you become angry, your eyes may become red and your language will change. देखा कभी आपने जब व्यक्ति गुस्सा आता है उसकी लैंग्वेज में चेंज आ जाए. So he starts using harsh words. He starts using angry words. And when angry words come, they hurt others. And when they hurt others, they may hurt so much that person also will react back or will become angry. तुमसे नाराज हो जाएगा, तुमसे बोलेगा ही नहीं. Will stop talking to you. Speak. Keep quiet. And then you will find the अंदर का जब reaction, when it will cool down, then you speak. Then you will speak. Third thing I will say about control of anger is develop mindfulness. Mindfulness मतलब keep yourself in the present moment. हम क्या होता है anger में सब समय it is always generally think about something that has happened. I'll give you an example. एक बड़े अच्छे आदमी थे, वो कहीं वृंदावन में रहते थे. तो उनका एक कुक था, वो उनके लिए खाना बनाता था. खाने में इतना तीखा डालता था, मिर्च डालता था, पंडित जी एकदम खा नहीं पाते. फिर उसको बहुत डांटते थे. तो एक बार ऐसे ही उसने, पंडित जी बहुत गुस्सा हो गया. तो हर रोज गुस्सा हो रहे हैं, उसको डांट रहे हैं. अगले दिन उसने कहा, अच्छा पंडित जी ने मेरे को इतना गुस्सा किया है, आज मैं ठीक ठीक डालूं, ज्यादा नहीं डालूंगा. तो उसने मिर्ची थोड़ा कम डाला और मिर्ची अच्छा खाना हो गया. पंडित जी आए खाने के लिए, बोले आप क्या सुंदर खा रहे हैं. लेकिन उनको हैबिट हो गया ना उसको सब समय डांटने का. तो सोचते आज क्या बोलूं, हर रोज तो उसको डांट रहा हूं, आज क्या बोलूं. आज तो उसने खाना अच्छा बनाया. तो बोले, अरे पिछले 3-4 दिन से तुम ऐसे ही कर सकते थे ना. Why did you put so much earlier? You should have not put like today. मतलब बिना किसी रीजन के ही उसको डांट रहे हैं. So anger must be controlled by, first of all, understanding the source of our anger and being in the mindfulness state and not allowing it to enter into our words. A very simple way of putting it. असल में हमारे रामकृष्ण मिशन से ना एक स्वामी जी होते थे, उन्होंने एक किताब लिखी है इसके ऊपर. It is called Overcoming Anger. It is written by Swami Budhananda ji. It's published from Ramakrishna Mutt, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. So it's there in I think 4 or 5 languages, including Hindi, some South Indian languages, and also in Bengali. So jisko agar if you can order it after the lockdown opens, please read it. Overcoming Anger by Swami Budhananda. So this is the thing about anger.
Thank you, Maharaj. Although in between your video got frozen, but your audio was coming. Because there was some lag of internet connection from your side. But anyways, we got the message actually, and I hope student also got. So Maharaj, before we proceed further, because I have this boundary of time with me right now, I can see that it's 6:32 right now.
Okay.
And you already told me that you will be there till 6:30. So as per your advice,
we can spend another 10 minutes, no problem.
Okay. So Maharaj, there is one more question which has been asked by a lot of people. I mean, I can take name Pranav, Khushi, Nandini, Tanisha. They all are talking about this word divinity. Okay, and they say that how can we say that this divine nature which is there in us, this divinity in us, and how can we find it? And there is one more question. I think somebody has written in the chat box that how to know our power of spirit according to you. So I think both question will lead to the one answer, and if you can just take it from here and just give your perspective.
So what is divinity and how do we know that there is divinity? that we are not divine, how do you know about it? I'm asking an opposite question. Your question is that we are divine, how do we know? So this idea of divinity has been given to us, that we are divine, is given to us by some very authentic people. Very authentic. Authentic क्या होता है? जिसका बड़ा honest है, जिसको जैसे somebody returns from America and tells you this is America, so we say it's an authentic knowledge. And somebody who's never been to America and gives you tells you about imaginary story about his travel, so we know he's not authentic. So there are very authentic people in our culture whom we call as rishis. और ऋषि शब्द का अर्थ क्या होता है? आपने रामायण देखा है, रामायण में बड़ी बड़ी दाढ़ी होती है. दाढ़ी does not mean that you are a rishi. You may keep a दाढ़ी or you may not keep a दाढ़ी, that doesn't matter. Rishi basically comes from a word called rishyate. Rishyate, drishyate iti rishihi. जिसको दिखाई दे. क्या दिखाई दे? Something which is not seen through the ordinary instruments of perception. So what are the ordinary instruments of perception? Eyes, ears, smell, touch. These are all ordinary means of perception. जैसे मैं तुमको देख रहा हूँ, I have an eye and you have an eye and we are looking at each other through this digital technology. So there is something else also beyond this. So that has been experienced by our rishis. So the first thing is we have to believe in them, or we should believe in them. Swami Vivekananda, when he went to Chicago in 1893, he spoke in the Parliament of Religions there. There he quoted a verse. It is from an Upanishad. No, Upanishads are the last portion of the Vedas. They are the knowledge portion. It's known as the Jnana Kanda. So उसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि स्वामी जी quotes इंग्लिश में बोला है स्वामी जी ने, but the original is in Sanskrit. I'll just say the first one line. It says, Shunvantu Vishwe Amritasya Putraha Aye Dhamani Vishwani Tastuhu Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Adityavarnam Tamasa Parastat. So there is this rishi who says, listen ye who are the children of immortal bliss. And we are not children of sin or children of darkness. We are children of immortal bliss. So this is from the first thing, that there's divinity in all of us, that these authentic people are telling. Then there are other ways of knowing who we are. I'll give you a very small example. Say we are, suppose we want to see. How do we see? We see through our eyes. First of all, there is light and there is eyes. Sun is on and then we see it. Suppose now sun is set. Then how do we see? We put on an electric bulb and we see. Suppose there is power off. Then how do we see? How do we see ourselves, so to say? So say now we light a lamp, or nowadays we have the batteries. So I put on my camera battery and see myself. Suppose the camera battery is all run out and the candle also is not there. Then how do I see myself? It says I see myself through voice. Suppose you are in complete darkness. So I ask, oh, where is Anmol? So Anmol is sitting in one corner. He says, here I am. So I know, okay, through my ears, I know. But suppose there is nobody around me. Who will know that I am there? Who will say that this being is there, that I am there? How will I know if there is nobody to call me, no light is there, no sun is there? I will know myself. I am there. This is known as self-awareness. What is this self-awareness? I am. Then what is this I? When we investigate what is this I, we find it is divinity. It is divine. जब स्वामी विवेकानंद ने बात कही ना अमेरिका में, तो there were many people who were क्योंकि उनके कल्चर के अनुसार उनको बताया गया था कि you are all sinners, you are not divine and you don't have infinite possibilities. But Swamiji stood there with the message of Vedanta and said, we are all divine, we are all children of immortality. I may have done some mistake, it's okay, but I am basically very divine because that is what my scriptures tell me. और इस इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ सेल्फ इन्वेस्टिगेशन को देखो, एक होता है ना इन्वेस्टिगेशन, यू डू इट आउटसाइड. सपोज यू आर ए जासूस, आप जासूस कोई एक केस को इन्वेस्टिगेट करते हो, हम उसकी बात नहीं कर रहे, हम अंदर की बात करें, हु एम आई. तो जब उसको इन्वेस्टिगेट करना है तो कैसे करते हैं? गो ऑन प्यूरिफाइंग योर माइंड, देन यू विल डिस्कवर that when there is no anger, there is no greed, there is no jealousy in you, there is none of the lower things present in you, then you will see your divine being within. So this is how we can look upon the idea of divinity. So it's a very profound question that you have asked, and how do we know there is divinity? But very simple thing is, पतंजलि के योग सूत्र में एक सूत्र आता है. संस्कृत में उस सूत्र को इस तरह कहते हैं. I'll translate that in English for you. It says तदा दृष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानम. इसका अर्थ होता है when you have removed all the dust and you have settled down the mind. Mind is not having any anger, mind is not having any frustration, mind is not having any jealousy, mind is truly calm and quiet. Then what happens? They say, then tada drushtuhu swarupe avasthanam. You will discover that you are divine. You are divinity. You yourself will discover. I need not tell this. It is your own self. Your own. तुम्हारा एक अधिकार है. This is your right to discover yourself. So this, in short, I would say about divinity.
Thank you, Maharaj. Advik has written one question, so I think this
What's that?
Question is already answered by Maharaj as well. He's asking that what is the purpose of my life? So
wonderful. Go on asking this question, and you will discover the last end of your life. Right now, the purpose of life maybe is to study, and then to get good marks, and then go to IIT perhaps, or IMA, then get a job, and then get a family perhaps. And then you will, after the family, have enjoyment, then you will retire. And then you will become old, and then you will go off from this world. That is what generally people think is how the life goes on. But if you want to discover the real purpose of your life, one thing that you can do is try to rise up, find a goal higher than your own ego. Find a goal higher than your ego, you will discover the real goal of life.
Okay, Advik, I think you look satisfied with the answer. And I think if any answer has some mystery behind it, now it is your quest to find it. And for that, if you have any obstacles, so we have Maharaj with us, so we can always reach out to him. He will readily help.
Yes, you are welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much for extending the time and compensating that technical fault and all. Now that's a great opportunity for all of us, for children, for we as IQF resource persons as well, and we are so grateful. Now I would like to ask Shantanu to come forward and give a vote of thanks to Maharaj and to all the members who are the part of it. And if there is any further message, Maharaj, you want to give, so you can give. We'll be happy to have it. No, I wanted to ask one question, but that we will keep it for our next interaction. Because I want them, all of them to just imbibe these ideas first, because this 21 days is not going to over after 30th of May.
Okay.
We shall do a lot of follow-up sessions as well, because journey should be continued. We cannot just have 21 day and then we feel that okay, we have achieved a milestone. This is the whole journey actually.
Okay.
So we'd like to have you during that course of action as well. We'll be really blessed to have you during that time. Thank you so much for that, Maharaj. And my sincere
All my best wishes to our friends and
Thank
to you
you.
also.
Thank you.
May everyone grow well, and may there be Sanskriti in every one of you.
Definitely. Okay, Shantanu, please give a vote of thanks now.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thanks for your blessings. आज के समय में समय बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है और आपने हमें अपना वैल्यूएबल टाइम दिया इतने बिजी शेड्यूल से निकाल कर, तो उसके लिए IQF की तरफ से हम आपको धन्यवाद देते हैं. थैंक यू वेरी मच. और हम और भी चाहेंगे कि आगे हम आपसे ऐसी गाइडेंस पाते रहें, इसी तरह से आप हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें. और यहाँ पर जो भी टीचर्स हैं, पेरेंट्स हैं और जो हमारे वेल विशर्स आज यहाँ पर हैं, उनको भी मैं थैंक यू बोलता हूँ IQF की तरफ से. धन्यवाद कि आप सब यहाँ पर आए और हमें समय समय पर मोटिवेट करते रहे कि हम कुछ ऐसा करें जो सबके लिए हो. एंड आज हमारे साथ कुछ हमारे चैलेंजर्स ने अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर किए. उन्हें कैसा लगा इस पूरे 21 डेज पावर चैलेंज में. अभिनव, परी, सिमरप्रीत, उनको भी मैं थैंक यू बोलता हूँ. धन्यवाद. एंड में आप सभी को जो भी यहाँ चैलेंजर्स हैं और जो किसी वजह से यहाँ से चले गए या जो भी ये वीडियोस देखेंगे, उन सभी को मैं थैंक यू बोलता हूँ IQF की तरफ से कि आप सब ने पेशेंस के साथ इस सफर को आगे बढ़ाया, सुना, समझा. और आखिरी में बस इतना ही कहूँगा कि आप सभी लोग अपने कैमरा ऑन करिए प्लीज, और महाराज को हम सब अपना सिंसियर प्रणाम देंगे कि महाराज ने हमें अपना एक वैल्यूएबल टाइम दिया. तो सभी लोग प्लीज ओपन योर कैमराज एंड give your sincere pranam to Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Namaste to all. Namaste
I
to
think
everyone.
let them open their mic as well. They can,
Yes.
they can speak
Yes,
and
yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, you gave your valuable time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think so that you can. Thank you so much for
Thank
so
you,
much,
sir.
Maharaj.
Bye,
thank
sir.
you, Maharaj. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and
Okay.
respectful pranam to
So
you.
much, Maharaj.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day, sir.
Bye,
Bye,
sir.
sir.
ठीक है. नमस्ते.
Have a nice day.